Right. I really hope that this is working now. Um, I'm going to check if it is. So, so that's the that's the hang on. Zip it, zip it now. Let's see. Yeah, the watch along might be a bit delayed. But let's see if I can. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah, that is, I believe. Yeah, a bit of a technical hitch there, but I think we're good. I think, or at least I hope we are, because that would not, uh, 'cause if we're not good, then it's not good. Hello, J Productions. Yes, this is the actual stream to go on. I had, had a bit of a technical hitch, but this is the proper stream, so stay here. But yeah, it's the 7 year live stream. Hi to Toby Coleman as well. So yeah, as I said, this is the stream. So if you could share this around with anyone, yeah, anybody else, please do. I'll just put it in the community tab. No live stream is complete without some technical issues. I blame CGI Omega. I blame the heat. But CGI Omega is a valid. It's working. Halio. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah, it's quote Phantom Menace. It's working. It's working. I watched that a few months ago. Actually, Phantom Menace. Yeah, it's really good. I enjoy Phantom Menace, but yeah, it what can you do? You go rewatching the Star Wars movies too. I hope so. The reason I watched Phantom Menace it was because Revenge of the Sith got re-released this year because it was 20th anniversary back in like April. So I was planning on like rewatching Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones to go and watch Revenge of the Sith at cinema, but it was at the time where I just didn't have any. I didn't have any free time. It was like during a show week, and it was like if anybody who does the Leo, he can vouch for this because we've done a few shows together. You don't have any free time in show week. There's just none. So yeah, but it was when I was doing a few months ago Legally Blonde, which was fun. But yeah, no free time, and it didn't work out. But I will get back to watching them eventually. I like rewatching Star Wars every so often. Technical gremlins happens all the time. It always does, Toby. It always does. It's one of those things that just isn't it? But but I think we're good. I think we're good to go, which is good. So I did shows years ago, and I get what you mean when you're at a school in the day and shows in the evening. Yeah, that was whenever I did school shows. That was basically what it was. You have about 2 or 3 hours of free time in between, and then you just have to go back again. Essentially, um, yeah, it was always that's just how it is, really. Or was, I should say. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so for the 7-year live stream, the 7th anniversary, I thought the main kind of thing to do, I thought I'd do a live watch along. I would do one, a Pit Stops episode from Series 7 of the Revived series. I was tempted to either do like a 7th Doctor story, so, or God forbid, like a season 7 from Classic Who, but they're like 7. We're not doing an Ambassadors of Death watch along because we'd be here until about midnight, and I think, nah. I mean, it's a great story, but we're not doing that. So I have chosen. We were going to originally do 2 episodes: The Rings of Akaten and Cold War, because of the heat and just like it's just. I had to push this stream back just because it's been too hot in the UK to even make content. I've decided to, I say, push it back later. So we're just going to do one episode. We're just going to do Cold War, with the Ice Warriors and whatnot. The reason I went for Cold War, Scorch It, yes, it is boiling. The main reason that, Cold War, obviously, you know, cold episode, Ice Warriors and whatnot. So it's a bit of a, nice antidote to the heat. But also the main reason for me, I did rewatch Rings of Akaten like a month ago. So I have seen it recently enough. But Cold War I've not seen in a few years, to be fair. So this will be fun to revisit. So I'm just gonna get it up on iPlayer now for myself. But I will link the episode in the chat very soon. Let's. Uh, I don't know. Yes. Okay. Is this ready? Cold War is one of Dan's favorite episodes. That's interesting. It's definitely that and Rings of Accent are definitely my favorites from Series 7. Yeah, definitely are. I think Cold War is very, very classic style, based on the siege, kind of bottle episode, and the Ice Warriors, can't go wrong with them. But yeah, it's a bit of an underrated gem, really, I think. But I like Cold War. Yeah, anyway, I will find the link to the episode and I'll put it in the BBC iPlayer link for anyone in the UK. Um, yeah. I layer probably out. Can't spin. Okay. Okay, so if you go to the pin message, that's the link if anybody wants to watch it on iPlayer. Go on iPlayer just reminded me that I had to watch a clip from the Doctor the Widow in the Wardrobe earlier today for a video, and I forgot how suffocatingly schmaltzy that story is. Uh, no, we don't talk about the Doctor the Widow in the Wardrobe here because it's crap. And I don't like it. It's the worst Christmas special by a country mile. I just no. Can wonder about a lot of movies. I'm always disappointed by. Yeah, it's interesting. Like stories that you might be nostalgic for, well, when you kind of revisit them, they're not that good. It's interesting how the memory can be sometimes. Joy to the World. Yeah, Joy to the World's like 10 times better. Like it's not great, but like I mean, I'd take 1,000 Joy to the World over one Doctor Who Wardrobe any day. Yeah. Like I know we slag off the current era and whatnot because I know we slag it off and all that, but like and Joy to the World ain't that great, but like it's nowhere near Doctor Who in the Wardrobe at all. That's always the funny thing. It's like with every new series, there's always the new worst episode. So we had the reality war and Insta Song Contest as well for this season. Last year it was Empire of Death and Space Babies. Before that it was like Legend of the Sea Devil. Before that it was the Timeless Children, Orphan 55. There's always the new worst episode ever. And it's just like, yeah, Doctor Who has a history of really naff episodes. There's some terrible ones. Those are the one only seems worse in comparison to the holy duo of Brent and Romy, absolutely, and Dave Coates as well. Um, the Dave Coates bit in the Gavin and Stacey finale was like that was like our Avengers Endgame, watching it all together as a family. But yeah, Joy to the World, like that Christmas lineup last year was stacked, so it did definitely kind of falter. It was always just like a bit of kind of a nothing one, but the Wallace and Gromit, the Adventures Most Foul, and the Gavin and Stacey finale, like they had, I had my uni group chat watching it all, and we were like popping off. It's like, yeah, oh, Peter McGraw, like oh, Godbread, and we're not quite like that because we're not like we're not like yeah, but yeah, Joy to the World was like I was like the only one in my uni group chat who was watching it. I don't think anybody else, nobody else, I don't think is really that mad on Doctor Who, or at least at uni I talked to. Yeah, it's been interesting, like talking to people about who at uni and whatnot, and like people who've kind of fallen off it and whatnot. I'm a pal, and my friend who he watched season one but didn't hasn't watched season two. He knows certain things that happen and whatnot, but he didn't know about Omega happening. He was because he obviously knows like the lore of the show and whatnot, but he didn't know Omega was back. And so when I told him and when I showed him the clip, he was like, he was gobsmacked, and it was the funniest thing ever. Brilliant. Oh man, his reaction was brilliant. It was yeah. Oh man. Um, I found Joy disappointing because I expected a Moffat classic like Christmas Carol. At least it wasn't Widow. Yeah, yeah. I think Moffat specials are either really great or really not great. Because like Christmas Carol is for me probably the best one. Husband of a Song I really like too. I really like Twice Upon a Time as well. And last Christmas has grown on me. But then you've got Doctor Widow Wardrobe, The Snowman. I can't stand. I think it's terrible. I really cannot stand that one. So he's very polarizing in terms of his specials. Um, um, I don't know what the worst episode is, but I'm leaning towards Legend of Sea Devils and Empire of Death nowadays. Yeah, I can't really argue with those two. They're really quite poor, and they just leave a really naff taste in your mouth afterwards. I think. Yeah, but I think you can't forget all the classic Who stories like Underworld and Warriors of the Deep and the Leisure Hive as well. Just no, um, you know. Yeah, I'll keep quiet about my opinions on the swear. No. Don't keep them quiet. If you love a snowman, say it, right? Don't let me be don't let me the loudmouth that I am be like, oh, snowman's crap and everything. Don't be say it if you love it. At least the web planet feels earnest in how terrible it is. I nearly said the web planet, but I was like, I enjoy the '60s era, so it's there is a kind of an earnestness. It's quite charming. But there's a kind of charm to a lot of the '60s episodes. To be fair. Um, yeah, yeah. I have actually been rewatching season two, but that's from the collection. box set. I'm not getting it out now because I can't be asked. But I haven't got somewhere. But I've watched Planet of Giants, which is a bit, it's fine. Dark Invasion of Earth I rewatched, which I forgot how great it was. It's a really well written story, very bleak as well. There are genuinely moments, even as an adult now, that I genuinely find scary. Not in like a behind the sofa way, but kind of with how grim it is and how dark it can get. That story, it's quite a bleak story, but I love it. I think it's great, and it's rightfully a classic. And um, you can see why it's a classic. And also the Rescue I watched, and a nice little two-part story. And not as I used to really love the Rescue, and nowadays not as much, which is weird. But I still really enjoy it. It's a nice little adventure story and whatnot. And I also watched The Crusade for the first time, which is on that box set with the recon. And yeah, that's another really good. Like, it's just a really good historical drama. Great direction, great performances from Julian Glover and Gene Marsh, because I watched it when Gene Marsh passed away. Yeah, Crusade's great. Sweet. Legend Hype has the funny Brighton Beach scene. I've never really got the appeal of that Brighton Beach scene. It's just like, yeah, they're at a beach. Like, yeah, it looks nice, but why are they there? It's like the first 3 minutes of the story in part one, and then for the rest of it, they're just on that planet. It's like, why? I don't know why it's. What's the point of it? I don't know. I bought the Legend Hive recently. I found out a classic Coup story to buy. It all happens. It happens eventually. Apparently, when I was younger, I loved Doctor Who until I watched The Impossible Astronaut because I found it too scary and couldn't watch Who for years. Like, I never really had that experience because I was a bit because I was never that young watching Who. I only really started watching it when I was about like 9, 10 years old. So I was kind of at that age where things like TV shows or movies wouldn't like frighten me as such when you're that young. I never had that with Doctor Who, but I've always, there are episodes that definitely, yeah, I think I was about 4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I was never like that young watching Doctor Who. I was just watching Cars and like, you know, Bob the Builder and stuff like that. I don't know. Bob the Builder was my jam. Like, screw Doctor Who, Bob the Builder. We should do a Bob the Builder watch along. It'd be great. Jesus Christ. Cars 2 is so direct. Yes, it is. That was the first film I saw in the cinema. And, like, I know I probably said it before on the channel, but like, I love it. It's not great as like nowadays, like as an actual film looking at it nowadays, but mate, I love it. It's so cool. And as a Bond fan as well, seeing like Finn McMissile, he's an Aston Martin. It's just like it's great. It's perfect. It would have been better if Roger Moore voiced. Well, no, not if Roger Moore voiced Finn, that'd probably been better. That'd been so cool. I watched Dangerous Night Manhattan with my eyes closed as a kid. I turned into Peter. That's pretty what you should do with the Dangerous Night Manhattan. It's not that good. Um, Impossible Astronaut is one of my favourites to this day. I found Series 8 terrifying and I was 9, 10. It is. Yeah, Series 8. Series 8's interesting because I've been rewatching a few from that series recently. Because I watched Flatline, which I still love. I rewatched Into the Dalek and I also rewatched Deep Breath. Because a slight sort of like spoiler for video on the channel soon, but I've been planning on a video on the every Doctor's first story, like a ranking of every Doctor's first story. And obviously, I've rewatched a few of them, and Deep Breath was one I watched again. And that series is definitely it's the most mature of the new series, probably, and the darkest. But looking back, there's something about something Deep Breath particularly where the darkness kind of feels artificial. It doesn't feel that mature, if I'm being honest. Uh, some moments, yes, but others, like the veil scene, when you think about it, there's parts of that that just don't really make any sense, and it's just kind of there's an air of trying to be smarter than what it. Yeah, it feels dark and less dark and more edgy. I think it feels yeah, it feels almost like what a teenager would think being dark, and it's not that mature. But stuff like Mummy and the Orient Express and Flatline, I think are. And Into the Dark, I'll say, because I really like that one. Um, It's my first film in the cinema was Toy Story 3, Cars 2, and Ice Age 4. What a lineup there. Isn't Ice Age 4 the one that Drake's in? Isn't he in that one? Why have why have all people is Drake in that one? For me, it was everything between Listen and Flatline that scared me. Then Love Mummy and Flatline these days. Yeah, Mummy and Flatline, that sort of double bill because is it James Matheson who wrote both those? But like that double bill is just a great. They're two fantastic stories. They're brilliant, and they're two that I often go back to. And I say Flightline like I've watched recently. Yeah, Ice Age 4 has Drake, Nicki Minaj, just some random names. Why why? I really want to sing Not Like Us Now. Okay, hey Drake, and I can't do it on stream. I can't be singing Not Like Us on stream. What I waste, my first film I think was Iron Man 3. I think I remember that coming out, but I didn't watch it at the time in like 2013 or whatever. But I do remember that coming out actually. I remember a lot of like the merchandise of that one because it was quite because that era of like the MCU, like the first Avengers movie, I remember coming out distinctly, and I watched it then. Iron Man 3 is a Christmas. Yes, it is a Christmas movie. Yeah, like it is, and a New Year's film as well because at the start, um, they play "I'm Blue." Yeah, they play the Life of 65 song. But that sort of era of first Avengers movie, Iron Man 3 I remember coming out, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one I remember coming out. And then for a few more years I sort of wasn't really paying much attention to Marvel. And then around like 2018, like Black Panther and then Infinity War coming out, that's when I started paying attention to Marvel more. And now I'm not, even though I am going to watch Fantastic Four. And I did watch Thunderbolts. Yeah, if Mr. L is in this chat, he's going to absolutely roast me for my Thunderbolts take. And don't anyone else start if you've seen the podcast. I think my first film in the cinemas was Tangled or Toy Story 3. Yeah, I didn't watch those in the cinema, but I remember those coming out. Tangled, especially, I remember because I remember watching that quite young. I do really love Tangled; it's really good. And so is Toy Story 3 as well. But I haven't watched them in years, so I need to get on them again. Die Hard is a Christmas film for sure. Yeah, it is. It is a Christmas film. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a Christmas film. So is Well Designed Enough. And so are about like 40% of Bond films already. You're not a real cinephile anymore. This is annoying because it's on stream, so I want to make a crass and rude gesture to that. But I won't because I don't want the stream to get flagged or anything. I'm just playing it safe. But yeah. But yeah, how's everyone for starting the episode actually? Is anyone else is that everyone okay to start the episode? Is everyone kind of set up with to watch it? Because like you can do I'd say the link to the episode is BBC iPlayer link. It's in the pinned comment in this chat. I'm ready, J Productions. Okay. Because I might start it I'm ready to yeah, I might start it in a second. I say we could carry on with the chat later on in the stream after the episode because it's quite a short episode. It's only 41 minutes, and that includes credits. So it's really I will do a countdown, like press play and whatnot here. I'm just kind of making sure everyone's ready, but yeah, it's a relatively short episode. It's not that long, and but yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do as like as a for the anniversary, So obviously, with how the stream works, I can't show the episode here, and also you won't hear it through my headphones because I've got the headphones connected to the laptop here that I'm watching it on. So, 40-minute episode is probably better placed than the longer current episodes. To be fair, actually, the recent episodes they've not been that much longer. They've only been around 45-ish minutes generally. But the ironic thing is they need to be longer. That's the funny thing. But you're probably right. I probably would take this over like 60% of RTD2. But yeah, so basically, I will count down as J Production said in the chat. I will count down to from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever. I'll count down, and when I say press play, we'll press play, and so we can kind of watch it along together, and you'll have like this commentary and whatnot. And I probably will do an edited, cut down version of of this reaction, so you can cut out moments just like that. So, but that's what the plan will be. So, is everybody ready? Just for final time. Spring for about 2020. Yeah, the lockdown watch-alongs and the was it the Hood event. I miss doing things like this. I miss watching Doctor Who. Yeah, it's always a shame, but I always like kind of come back to it. I think especially in this heat as well. I've not had the kind of motivation to be watching stuff and whatnot. I just haven't. You haven't wanted to, so it's better to watch just something you kind of comfort viewing that you like Doctor Who. So I thought I'd watch it. So is everybody who wants to watch the episode ready? We all for final time, final time. Toby says he's ready. Okay, Jeff, you're ready. Okay, I'm going to start the episode in. Right. I'm going to start the episode in 10, 9. Get ready, everyone. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play. North Pole, 1983. Some great CGI icebergs there. Submarine. This gives me like Spy Love Me vibes now because I watched the opening of that. This is very like 70s Bond. Now you know, I'm not going to complain though because we love Bond. Hey, David Warner. I love David Warner in this episode. Great submarine film is the world's comments. 18th century. You already watch? There's a funny thing. I always find it funny when they take the mick out of like authority figures in army. It's like we were just about to blow the world. I love kind of that humor when it comes to military kind of thing. I like the. I think I always find that kind of amusing in a weird way. Shows how silly they are. The Ice Warrior Scalbag. This is brilliant. Like the visually, this episode is great. It's like a proper. The colors and the lighting is just really cool. Have we watched the Ice Warriors recently? Yeah, it's a decent story. It's not like a standout from the Pat Trout era. I'm not too big on most of the like. Oh, he's out there. He's out there nice. And then we have these titles. What do we think of these title sequence? 7B1. Because the more I think back on it, the worse I think these get in my mind. and the more I understand why people don't really like them that much. Like, because visually they're a bit like conceptually quite interesting, but just not great titles, not very well rendered. I like the colours though, and the theme as well. Margatus. Oh, bloody hell. Viva Las Vegas. The funny thing is, I actually did watch Viva Las Vegas, the Elvis film, the other day, and I actually liked it, unironically so. Uh, it's actually really good as well, Viva Las Vegas is. Yeah, Matt's really rocking the Elvis glasses here. It's a brilliant claustrophobic setting. Yeah, it really is. I think it's a quite a unique setting, but kind of Doctor's bread and butter. Claustrophobic kind of based on the Caesar stuff. It's great, classic stuff. Harveyton. Is that Barbie Rose? It was a Barbie. I don't know which one it was. That's that's quite cool. It actually looks really good as well. The lighting and the colors. It's just like these blues, and it looks so good. It looks so good. Oh, they're on a scrap. I love David Warner in this story. He's great. It's a great shot. Yeah. I love how Matt Smith can just switch from being, quirky, eccentric, and now he's just. I love how he just switches it and it just feels natural. It's brilliant. That head turn as well. It's just Matt Smith is amazing. You silly sod. I love how Matt Smith that performance just builds over that encounter. He starts off all like you know quirky, eccentric. Is it yes? And then he turns around. He's like a bit cautious, and then he finds out his name, and it just builds so well. I think this is one of the strongest of all of Series 7. Yeah, I said at the top of this and Rings of Akaten are probably my two favourites because I love, this is kind of just like, it's not groundbreaking, this, but it's just, this is brilliant. But it's just really kind of self contained, but really succeeds at what it's doing. I think this one, it's just great. Again, another great shot. Him in the silhouette with the smoke. Like visually, this episode's fantastic. It's just great vibe. Like the fact that this is so it's very unique for a British show like this. It is, yeah. I think I like the fact that it's exploring the Cold War. I think that's just kind of a cool part of history. I think it's kind of interesting and not as explored in a lot of Western media. I think it's just kind of an interesting, something a bit different than say like World War II, for example, which is very often a setting, especially in Doctor Who as well. You know, so it's not about Mark Gatiss. He's kind of he's a bit of an alter writing. He's got a distinct. There's a thing if you like the classic format of Doctor, the kind of more traditional stories he writes, and they're always very fun. I like his historical settings. Oh yeah, Duran Duran, the Duran Duran song. I just like this texture with the whole Cold War stuff. I just find it an interesting part of history anyway. So I like seeing it explored in Doctor Who. I do. Pesky translation circuit. Yeah. Can we have Bernard Lee and Desmond Llewellyn shot? I just realised you could see the episode in the mirror. I do like the captain in this episode. I think it's Lynn Cunningham. He's very good at it. the blue lighting on Smith's face, it looks a lot stronger than it does on the captain's. He's very cold. He's very melancholic, kind of like he's very upset that this situation is going out of hand, and I think he just shows it in the way that that's lit and shot. Again, direction is just top notch. Never. It's funny. I always forget how impressive Matt's chin is. Matt's chin is like Eccleston's nose. It's just a character. Or Poldy's hair. It's like, or no, his eyebrows. It's a character in itself. It just is. Actually, on this, especially she does actually. Yeah, I think I don't know why. She does. Yeah. So I find it's what I find interesting about the Ice Warriors as like villains. I say villains in quotation marks. Is how you can do them as almost not good guys, but they're not as like out and out evil as say like the Daleks, for example, um, or the Centauran or the Autons or something. They're an honourable race, and the Doctor very often respects that. So I find that interesting, and I'd like to see a story where maybe the Doctor has to um, beg for the Ice Warriors' help in a situation that could be quite cool maybe in the future. I scrambled. We're currently in the middle of the Doctor Who watch long, and I think you might have joined a bit later on, but yeah, we're currently in the middle of that. Songs of the Red Snow. That's a title of an episode. Songs of the Red Snow. I'd like to see the good honourable side of the Ice Warriors, like Curse of Penelon. As much as I don't really like Curse of Penelon on that, I don't think it's that good. The only really great thing about that story is that side of the Ice Warriors. I think it's just kind of interesting. Probably get the Ice Warriors they come across pretty generic age to more of them. I don't really. I think there's definitely more potential with that, but I wouldn't call them generic at all. Um, oh yeah. Speaking of doing more with them and exploring different ways, this one leaves its armor. It's almost given like alien vibes now. Certainly turning a classic monster into a CGI beastie that has been a thing since 2013 and isn't a new thing. Yes, but what is a new thing is introducing it for about 3 minutes worth of screen time and it doing nothing. Because this episode doesn't do that. It actually uses the Ice Warrior. So, you know, hmm. It's almost like the Ice Warriors version of like Dalek from Series 1. A bit. I know I keep banging on about the lighting, like it just in that shot where the doctor was like, "You did great," like the blues, but also like the flashes of like the torches, like the kind of brighter flashes. It seemed much warmer. I know I keep mentioning the lighting in the story. I know it's probably winding everyone up, but I don't know. I could say I like this sort of stuff. I find it interesting when it happens. Cool. Oh, go back to the Wolf's Call. That film has excellent lighting and its visual aesthetic reminded me of this episode. I need to watch that. I'll give it a watch. I'll add to the watch list, which is ever growing. But I will have a look at it. Yeah, this definitely gives off like alien vibes. Mm. It is quite unsettling. Yeah, you're saying the same really of nervy as a kid. It is quite unsettling. You really do feel that cold atmosphere and just the kind of yeah. I think if they'd left Scal like just like those like hand shots where you just see his hands and his claws, I think that would be more effective than showing the kind of CGI face. It probably would have been better. Blocks. Might get something here. Something I find interesting about the story set in submarines is that there is a common idea of expendable people who are willing to destroy themselves as preventing destruction. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I haven't seen loads of like submarine set stories, but tends to be, especially like Cold War kind of stuff, like Cold War era sort of stories. If you insist, bit random, but okay. Yeah, Matt Smith in Series 7B is a bit odd at points. If you know, you know. These pair are going to die, aren't they? Surprised he was that certain, so he was. Yeah, it's a bit. Series 711 just wants to kiss. I think he wants to do more than that, mate. This is one of the better ones, but like, yeah, some weird Crimson Horror. No, it's over. It's odd things. Pinocchio. I love Hungry Like Hungry Like Hell is one of the best around songs. It's a classic one. Is it? It is on the real album, isn't it? I think I could be talking about my answer, but I don't know. I've sung that karaoke before. I think I sung "Hungry Like the Wolf" at karaoke. Like it's like year 11, I think it was. We had yeah. I think better than David Warner. St. Clara did as well karaoke. I think at this point, Under Pressure by Cream. I said Cream, not Queen. Oh. That was a show only ever a 12 at most. Yeah, that scene was pretty grim. But I mean, admittedly, they don't show anything. They more just allude to it. Love to Sonic. I was going to say something I've forgotten now. Yeah, naturally. I was thinking just a nice little character moment there. I love David Warner's character in this. It's like just a nice person. It's a nice supportive, character. And I think, yeah, it was a nice little moment, but just not over, nothing more than it needed to be. It's a very efficient episode, like just a very straight to the point. There's no kind of faff really. It just kind of hits all the beats that it needs to. You know. Yeah. I think there has maybe a different character that I probably find it more impactful. Because, like I said, Clara's never been my favourite at all. Um, Even Series 7, I don't think she's like my favourite, but I mean, yeah, it was a good, like, very well written moment. Oasis, did they get back together? Chad. I was thinking actually, because obviously I say I've not watched this story in a few years, and now that I'm older and kind of know more about the Cold War and how like it wasn't a very black and white sort of clear cut conflict, and how it was very there was this like air of tension and paranoia around a lot of it, and the way the Doctor interacts with Scalback and trying to negotiate is kind of very there's like the tension is through the kind of how shaky it can be and how one false move and things go kaboom. I love that. Obviously, the Ice Warriors are like that anyway. It's like these noble soldiers who can be reasoned with, but are vicious as well, and how the conflict isn't as it's not as clear cut as like going and just shooting, basically. It's just trying to negotiate a peace, and I think the way basically the real Cold War is reflected in the narrative of the story. I think it's just genuinely really clever. I never really thought of it until now. Did we know that? The Doctor believes to sit down and talking. Yes, he does. Red Sonic. Rewatching this is making the Interstellar Song Contest. Yeah, the more I think back on Interstellar Song Contest, the worse it gets. It's just bad. Very bad. I dare you. I double dare you, mother. Someone make an edit of this with the Jaws in Pulp Fiction. Going, I dare you. I double dare you. And the reveal of the Ice Warrior underneath the yeah, CGI is not great. To be honest, though, I don't think it's that bad. Okay, CGI is not good at all, but I don't necessarily mind as like a one-off thing. But I'm glad they didn't continue in like Empress of Mars and whatnot, and in any future Ice Warrior shows. I don't really want them to do it again. But as a one-off, I guess it's fine to do something different. It makes it memorable, but it's just the CGI that's just a bit crap. Looks a little wrong for it. Yeah, it also like the proportions just aren't right. Sort of 69 is so perfect to the point trying to change or all that. Yeah, I think the new series ones I think are relatively faithful. It's just like modernized. I love the redesign. I actually think the new series Ice Warriors are look better. Like just more revamped. Yeah. Bit like the Daleks really, just like more they feel more like a tank. This feels more like a suit of armor, not just like a costume that a bloke is wearing, you know. How much would their ears pop in that rapid change of pressure? Quite a lot. But these are the things we don't think about with Doctor Who. We don't think about real things. I am the Doctor. This is a neat remix of I am the Doctor. That's another thing as well. The soundscape of this episode, like the very industrial sounding. It's not like blaring "I'm the Doctor" every 5 seconds. It felt very unique to the story. I really like that. Once the episode's finished, I will probably put my lights on because it is getting bit dark now. Whereas Chris would say fantastic. The Doctor wins the Cold War. Yeah. Why didn't he just ask for a lift off the Ice Warriors? Just like, can I come with? End of the episode. Next time, trailer 4. Hyde. Yeah. That's another one I've not watched in quite a few years. But I remember quite enjoying Hyde. I want a Big Finish box set about the Doctor and Clara's treks to the South Pole, where they inevitably meet Jackie Tyler and the Sixth Doctor and some other Big Finish exclusive characters. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. So we'll have a brief chat about Cold War, but first of all, I just got to put some lights on because yeah, it's kind of a bit dark, so I don't really want this because this looks a bit grainy. So I'll be back in a moment. Let there be light. But yeah. So what are we thinking of Cold War as an episode? Now, Hyde is a story that exists. I kind of like it. I think it's kind of fun. It's not amazing though. Next time, a very small cast go to the story. It's quite a cute one. Yeah, it's we're not watching now unless anyone else wants to watch it. It's not the most complex episode in the world, but it's a solid, very gripping 40 minutes. Works in many ways. Yeah, I think that's the thing. A lot of Mark Gatiss stories are. Then I just think Mark Gatiss is very good at I was going to say for me like traditional Doctor Who. He's very good at he's never done these kind of high concept stories. You know, it's not he's not like a Stephen Moffat or a Russell in that sort of way. So that's why I don't know if he'd be the best showrunner. Um, but in terms of like making formula Doctor Who stories with his own style, he's got you know Unquiet Dead. I love that one. Emerson Mars, obviously, I love that one. Robot Sherwood's quite fun. His stories will be quite just easy. Uh, they're just watchable. They're very enjoyable stories and whatnot. And Cold War's, I think Cold War's probably one of his, alongside Unquite Dead and Empress of Mars. I think Cold War's one of his best stories that he's done for the program because he's always just he's got that flair for the historical elements which he always likes to incorporate, which I always enjoy. Um, he always he has an affinity for the classic stuff a lot of the time, which is it's quite nice. And his sort of dark humour. There's often there, like in stuff like Unquite Dead, you have it. In this story, you have it. The bit at the beginning I mentioned where it's like he was saying the general character. Oh, I was about to blow up the whole world. He's got that kind of dark humour, very much from his like League of Gentlemen days. You can kind of tell there's a helicopter just flying past. um, Yeah, really solid story through and through. Technically, it's amazing, but as a story itself, it's a pretty standard Doctor Who story. But these standard stories are very enjoyable. Having these kinds of episodes weekly a while. So yeah, actually, it doesn't have to be. It's nothing more than what it needs to be. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just a really solid story. It's quite fast paced as well, and it hits just the beats that it needs to. It's not. There's no faff. It's just it's very good. Cold War is a very entertaining story, wrapped up a little quick, but has a really intriguing plot. The Cold War parallels well. Yeah, that's what I really realised. The Cold War parallels. I think that's probably the best part of the episode. Or no, the the style of the episode. The soundscape, the lighting, the colour, the direction, just the general filmmaking and the actual style. Brilliant. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And then the Cold War parallels, I think, is fantastic. I love the way they reinvent the Ice Warriors for the new series. I love Matt Smith's performance in this episode. He's been really, generally, one of his better ones. Definitely Series 7, one of his absolute best. performances. I love David Warner. The story is very fun, and it's just a generally rock solid episode. I think Cold War might be strongest, and I have a real soft spot for Robot Show. I do enjoy that one. I haven't watched it a bit, so I need to give it another shot. But yeah, for me, it's Cold War, Empress of Mars. Empress of Mars, very much nostalgia, and Unquiet Dead. I really love Unquiet Dead. I just love that. I really do enjoy it, and I love the series one anyway. But I love that. I love Unquiet Dead. Um, it's kind of sad to think if this episode was in Shooter's era, it would be one of the best. But because it's in the Matt Smith era, it blends in and is overshadowed by other more impressive episodes. Yeah, I mean, I personally would say it's one of the best of Series 7. I say, along with Rings of Life 10. I think it's probably number 2 of that season. Um, but yeah, that's but there's quite a lot of there's quite a lot of these sort of episodes in Smith's era where I don't say formulaic, but there's a lot of traditional Doctor Who which kind of does, to a lot of people, does kind of just go under the radar. I think, um, but yeah. But, you've got to bear in mind as well. Obviously, Shooter's era, he had what he had probably like half of what Smith had in terms of episode count, which is a damn shame. And a lot of them weren't very good, unfortunately. But yeah, especially Series 7 with the no multi-parters. The Matt Smith era is much easier to rewatch because of these simple. Yeah, I often find the Matt Smith era I often come back to quite a lot. It's probably the era of New Who that I isn't it? Yeah, probably the era of New Who that I come back to the most. If I just want like just a fun, just feel good Doctor story that isn't too taxing, I'll probably put on a Matt Smith one or a Capaldi one for me. Look, the Moffat era generally is just my kind of Doctor Who, really. Sometimes the under the radar Smith is more is there. I can't speak. Sometimes the under the radar Smith is more enjoyable than the ultra praised ones. I love finding the underrated gems. Yeah, it is nice to find the ones that you personally connect with that aren't like the fan favorites because I always feel like I have to prepare for the big episodes. Like I can't rewatch Seven Cent just on a whim, but half of Series 10 I can. That's the best episodes are those ones where are the iconic, the beloved, the classic ones, but you can also just watch any day. Stuff like Dalek and Battle of Planet of the Ways, World of Time Doctor Falls. I could say the 11th Hour, Tomorrow Young Express. These kind of ones which um, you can watch any day of the week, but they are still these iconic, you know, brilliant episodes. Never gave Cold War enough respect until a few years back. I think 2022. Yeah, a bit like Scalper. You never gave him respect. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it nowadays. Like you enjoy it more. But yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed watching that again. It was just fun to watch it again. And that's like I haven't watched that in a few. Certainly called me off. That's good then. If it's called you off, then that's the important thing. Um, I think it's quite an appropriate one for the weather as well because it's the complete opposite of what we've had. So it's kind of needed. But yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, it's nice to, and as I would have loved to have done the Rings of Ten as well, but just like the heat was just like I couldn't fit 2 episodes in this one live stream as well. And I enjoy the discussion in the live chat, so I enjoy that. Imagine watching Cold War in 40x. That would be sick. Yeah, I'd love to see like there's certain Doctor Who stories. Watching them in a cinema would be amazing. Like, could you imagine like the series 10 finale in a cinema? That would just I would probably cry if I probably would. Um, I'd cry anyway. To be fair, yeah. But yeah, the reason another reason I kind of picked Cold War as well, I thought obviously Series 7, it worked. Um it was, it's one of my favorites from that season. But also, with it being an anniversary live stream, I wanted it to be kind of sentimental and celebratory. And I did want to share something which I know I've mentioned in a video before, but I wanted to share it again. And it was the fact that the guy who plays the Ice Warrior in that story, Spencer Wiley, I have met him, and I found out my old autograph. I found it out. So this would have been during 2020. This was so like early 2020. I remember. So around like Series 12 area, this was actually, and that will come back. But it was near where I lived at the time because it was obviously during 2020. Then I moved house to where I am now. This is before I moved, so it was literally like down the road from where I lived. And it was in like the sort of the shopping centre, and they had this like tiny little Comic Con kind of event. And I say Comic Con, they were a couple of guests there, but one of them was Spencer Wildy. So he's done quite a few Doctor Who monster work, but he's also been in stuff like Fast and Furious, Guardians of the Galaxy. He was also Darth Vader in Rogue One. So that famous hallway scene in the end of that film, that was Spencer Wilding. The body double of Darth Vader in that one. And as I say, he's done quite a bit of monster work on Doctor Who. I say his most prominent one was being Skaldak in Cold War, but he was also the Minotaur in the God Complex. He was, I think, he was in Doctor Who Wardrobe as like one of the wooden people. He was in Orphan 55 as well as one of the dregs. And obviously, I mentioned it was around when Series 12 was airing that I met him, and it was about a few weeks after Orphan 55 had aired, and he, was saying, "Oh, I played this the sort of the main drag," because with a lot of what happens is that a lot of those one of the stories where you have all the different monsters, you'll have a sort of chief actor playing one of the creatures. So in that case, he was like the chief actor playing the drag for like close-up shots and whatnot. That was mainly him. So in stuff like when it is just the shot for one drag, or the bit in when they go underground and they see that one drag, that was that was him. Was that the same con where you met Simon Fisher Beckett? Yes, it was. He was also there as well. And of course, rest in peace. It's a shame that he passed away. He was also very, very kind as well, very, very generous. Um, yeah, I think it was the video I did when I was it the every year as a Doctor Who fan. I think that video where I talked about this con. Um, yeah, I did meet Simon Fisher, Beckett, and I met Spencer Willing as well. And what I think Spencer Willing is one of those actor sort of meetings that it's not like your conventional one. He's not obviously the big name. He didn't play the Doctor. He's not like a big name as such, like a household name that everyone's going to recognize. But he's honestly one of my favorite actor meetings I've ever had because he was really generous. As I said, so I got the autograph. Obviously, I think is the Ice Warrior. And I love as well. He had some to Danny lots of love. Spence he obviously elongates the S's because the Ice Warrior is doing whatnot, and that was just a really nice little detail. But then, as like an actor, like I didn't ask for this, or like not this is unprompted, and he did it for free. He gave it a second autograph as well because they obviously had the photos and whatnot as the Minotaur from the God Complex, the Series 6. Matt Smith's story. But yeah, he didn't. I didn't ask for this. Like he just gave it. He gave it for free, and it was just like, really, really generous, and also very generous with advice as well. Because I say he's not the conventional star. Like, he's not as your household name. He's as you saw in the episode. He's a bloody tall chap. He's really tall, and there's probably a photo somewhere that of me and my parents with him. But he towers over you. And as he's not the conventional actor, movie star kind of guy, but he's really down to earth. And I think I was telling you about my sort of ambitions of I wanted to be an actor and whatnot, and because around that time I'd done not I think literally the day before I met him, I was doing one of my school shows, and I was doing Hairspray at the time, and I'd just done that. I was saying, I really want to do this, and he was really he was really like generous about it and really encouraging of like just absolutely go for it, because he's very much worked from it, and he didn't necessarily having the best growing up, but he's just always kind of had that dream, and he just went for it and always gone for it, and he was very encouraging of that, and it always sort of stuck with me. Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in how generous he was and how um yeah, just how yeah, that's the thing, generous. He was just very kind and considerate and very encouraging of um me wanting to work in acting, but also like film and TV, just that in that creative industry, just going for it, and just if you love it, just go for it. He was so encouraging, man. I'm always really grateful for that. I say it's one of those actor meetings that on the surface you might not really think of that much. It's just like, oh, he played an ice warrior, he played a dreg in one episode of series 12, but no, you actually meet the person, and that yeah, those meetings are great. Yeah, so he's always remains as one of my favorite actor meetings and whatnot. And a con. Yeah, it's great. It was great. And what's also really weird as well. So a kind of funny coincidence that he also brought up at the time, because I say he played the Minotaur in the God Complex, and he also body doubled as Darth Vader in Rogue One. There is another actor who was also body double Darth Vader and played a Minotaur in Doctor Who, David Prowse, who obviously body doubled Vader in the original Star Wars films and played a Minotaur in the Time Monster, I think it was. Yeah, the John Pertwee story, which I watched for the first time not long ago. Mental story, but yeah, that's a really bizarre coincidence that they've both played Darth Vader and a Minotaur in those franchises. It's just kind of a bit bonkers, but it's a really cool kind of coincidence. I didn't know David Prowse was in the Time Monster. Yeah, yeah, he was the Minotaur in it. It was like it's sort of like the end, like part 5 and 6. He's not in it loads, but and I say obviously he's underneath all the mask and whatnot and the prosthetics. So I say he's also an actor who was never. David Prowse was never sort of like you never really saw his face all the time, but yeah, David Prowse was in the Time Monster as the Minotaur. Not watched the Time Monster in forever. Haven't seen any Pertwee for a while. I have seen because I've watched as I watched the Time Monster as well, and I did again. I rewatched Spear from Space, which was for the Every Doctor's First Story. I wanted to do. Um, but yeah, I rewatched Spearhead. Fantastic. Time Monster, mental, but it's great. Oh yeah, David Prowse. He was the Green Cross Code man. That's probably what you more recognise his face as. To be fair, um, yeah. How that's one icon, one icon. And Spencer Wilding, he was also a green man in this episode as well. Um, there's another parallel. Brilliant, brilliant. But yeah, I wanted to share that because I thought watch the episode and also reflecting back on the channel and whatnot. Okay, the links are getting a bit tenuous now. Oh come on, it works, all right. It's half there, you know. It works. I think it works. So yeah, but yeah. Um, Yeah, that I just want to share that because I thought it was just a really nice story that just a nice memory, And yeah, 7 years of this, 7 years of YouTube, which is it's quite something. Tell the story of how you started your channel again. I can't remember. I genuinely. How did I start? I don't know. How did I start my channel? It's been that long. I don't know. There wasn't like a big origin story for it because I thing is I'd done YouTube before Clack of the Geek. I'd done stuff before then, but that channel got deleted. That channel's no more. And you're a great storyteller. To be fair, I am distracted by. I've got my phone here, and my group chat is going off. So can you blame me? I'm not exactly focusing right now. It's also been very warm, so I'm not exactly focusing. But Focus now, focus. So I had done YouTube before Clank of the Geek, and that channel is gone. That channel is gone. Deleted all that. I was really ultimately too young to really be doing it at that point. I should probably. In hindsight, it was not the greatest thing to do. But a year after I deleted all that stuff, I reset it up again on the Clank of the Geek, and then a month later, I uploaded the first video, which I remember. I remember. There is a rough version that I there's like basically a first take of that video which I didn't end up uploading because I used to when I was that starting out. I used to show them to my parents, and my mum was like, "Don't do that. Don't put that up." And so I reshot the whole first video, and that is what you see now. That's what's up. Can you blame me? The sequel to Can You Hear Me? I will be bringing up Can You Hear Me shortly, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that was. There's no real like big origin story for how I started the channel. I just did. I was just like, I'll talk about the pop culture that I enjoy. Talk about Doctor Who. Talk about obviously at that point, Star Wars, Marvel. That I enjoyed particularly at that time. And just movies in general and whatnot, TV shows, and just anything that I enjoyed because being a because I was 11 when I started that. I was 11 when I started the channel, and I'm nearly 19 now. Um, I used to show my parents my videos for a sec to check. I can't now even watch my protein. Yeah, after like a year, my parents was like, "You're old enough to know what's okay and what's not okay. Just make your own mind up." Yeah, to be honest, I don't. To be honest, trying to sit them through some of the crap that I've made. Yeah, nah, no, 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 no. I don't do that. Um, but yeah, as an 11-year-old autistic lad who really enjoyed his pop culture like Doctor Who and all this sort of stuff, and growing up in the Midlands and whatnot as well. Yeah, and just growing up in high school actually. Nobody would take you seriously at the best of times, and at the worst times, you get the piss ripped out of you if you were as passionate as I was, or like as openly passionate about the things you love. So I was always my kind of thought process was very much, you know, make a YouTube channel, talk about what you enjoy, your interests, and whatnot here. And if people find it, it's great. You're not forcing it upon anybody. You're not forcing people to sit through your rant about or 55 for 40 minutes. You're not. Yeah, that was my thought process back then. Um, and so that was why I made it, and that's kind of what I needed it for. And then about a year into it, I'd only really been making videos, and only really my friends that I knew in real life and my family were watching it. Really, they're the only people that really knew about it. And then, I say a year into it, that's when other YouTubers, like YouTubers specifically, um, as well, the YouTubers sort of started to take notice. I remember certain channels getting in, and it was sort of around series 12 time, that kind of built into that series, and then that series coming out. And I remember certain videos getting kind of popping off, like the Spyfall review. I remember because obviously the mass, it was the first big surprise we'd had in Doctor Who for a while at that point. I remember. So anything on Spyfall, on the 1st of January 2020, everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, I want to watch it." So I remember that got quite a few people watching my channel. I remember my Series 12 ranking that I did, like when the series ended. That got a fair bit of viewership. And then we go into lockdown and whatnot, and that was very much YouTube was basically my lifeline for the best part of 2 years, really, because or a year and a half, I should say, because you just couldn't do anything. It's like you couldn't go out, you couldn't meet people and whatnot. So it's like acting stuff I enjoy, it's like Amdram stuff I've always loved doing. Couldn't do that. So the only acting that I actually did for the best part of 2 years was my comedy sketches that I did. So for lockdown, it was a very much a lifeline to keep me afloat creatively, not. And I always loved doing the sketches as well, primarily in lockdown as well, because not only as a chance to just act and do my acting sort of stuff, but also, developing my skills as a writer, coming up with stories and whatnot, and actual filmmaking, trying to, very rough nowadays looking back, but it was fun to do, and it was a great learning curve, and I learned a lot doing all that stuff. And I wouldn't take any of that back. I wouldn't take any of I wouldn't take any of it back because it was just I enjoyed it. Parents are rejecting you recreating the Arnold's great theme. You said it when I was 50. If I was your parent, I'd reject you making. Yeah, you have to be prepared for, like, for people to on the internet to rip the piss out of you. You know, if you're going to put yourself out there publicly, you kind of have to be prepared for that. Sadly, I can confirm that people make fun of me, but it was honestly deserved. I was way too into Doctor Who, to the point where it became my sole personality trait. Mhm. I get it. I get it. I think it's yeah. I think it's tricky because there's no there should never be a shame in loving something. Um, I don't know. It's a tricky one because I think it's on the one hand I would say it's important to have a kind of um diverse set of interests. Enjoy a multitude of different things. I think I've definitely diversified out nowadays. I enjoy loads of different things that aren't just Doctor Who. I enjoy obviously Bond films. Even I don't watch them loads as much as I used to, but I love them. Like it's a franchise that I love. Obviously, I love movies and whatnot. Just like broadly speaking, um, I love music quite a bit now. I'm really into my music and whatnot. Certain artists that I really enjoy, and like certain eras of music that I really enjoy. Um, what else? Musical as well. Like obviously there's the acting that I enjoy, like Amdra sort of stuff that I enjoy doing it as a hobby. But I enjoy watching shows, particularly this year. I've tried to make more of an effort to watch more shows and whatnot. Like the other week, I went to watch Chicago on stage. Um, yeah, and it's really good. It's very good. I need to watch the rewatch the Richard Gere film again. The Renee Zellweger film. I can never pronounce her name. I've stopped caring what people think of me nowadays, and now I'm at a stage in life where no one else cares. Where was this actually in school? Yeah, schools are like secondary school, especially, is a really weird. It's a really weird point in anyone's life, and that's the thing. The funny thing is that my whole channel has basically documented me growing up. If you can't pronounce Renee Zellweger, just call her Bridget Jones, or I could call her Roxy, but she is in Chicago. But yeah, Bridget Jones works as well. But yeah, it's a weird thing in high school where everybody is insecure in high school, but I say everyone, people will rip the piss out of you for just being you. Yeah, you get it. And so I was always very much. I got it pretty early on, like sort of start. Year 7, 8 when you first start high school. I got I got comments that people would make and passing in the corridors and whatnot. And so from that point on, I would kind of try and just try and mask it and try and hide it and just be like, just not not really advertise it as such of what I enjoy. Just like it's just it is what it is. But then I think as you get older, and then as well, it definitely went away. Really, like um even throughout like going into like GCSE time and then A level time with sixth form and whatnot, never really stopped being a kind of something you kind of kept on the down low. I mean, obviously my love for Doctor Who in this case kind of waned a bit, but even my love of like films and whatnot, how much I love films and whatnot. Um, I still get the piss taken out of me now. It's like the obscure films that I've watched. I can take it now, but I think at the time I was a bit kind of it's weird when you're in school because it is different from when you're not in school. When you've left and you're at like uni or just in the real world, people take the piss out of you, but it's more your friends who do, to be fair. But you're kind of on that level where you're allowed to put the piss out of your friends, really. But in high school, it's just kind of yeah, people just judge you on it, and people would think, oh, you being really interested in films is sad, and it's a shame. You shouldn't have to hide that fact, just to fit in, you know. For me, college was the worst as I was very isolated and didn't really have any friends in my life. High school was tough, but I find it easier. Kind of, I mean, obviously, I didn't go to college. I went to sixth form, but I don't know if I don't know if I'd say I got isolated. Kind of and kind of not, because I had people. You know, things happened. Things did happen. Things like I wouldn't wish upon anybody that happened in the friendship group and whatnot, but things happened, and it's one thing where you're around people, but you don't fully fit. It's where you don't fully fit in. It's like my circle of people that I hang out with or hung out with, I should say. Um, None of them were really into like Amram, for example. They never really did the school shows. I was always the one. I was always like just the token theatre kid who would do that sort of stuff, and I never had that thing to connect with them, and so it was just always really odd. And but just generally, I think even ironically, even though a lot of them did film studies as well at A level, you remember, even though a lot of them did that, a lot of them really didn't seem that into films. It was yeah. I mean, I remember one of them saying, "Oh, why can't we watch Harry Potter as one of the films to study?" And it's just like, eh, what is it? No, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll never forget that. I also try not. I try not to be snobbish about that kind of stuff, though, because like people can enjoy what they enjoy, but it's like if you're doing it from academic curriculum, like you're not going to be studying like Star Wars or Harry Potter. You're just not. It's not. There comes a point where you have to like branch out. You have to at least try and watch different things and at least give things a go. You don't have to like everything. Yeah, absolutely, I'm not saying that, but at least give stuff a go. That's what I'm thinking. And I've always like that. I've always been like I always like watching a variety of different things. Um, but yeah, nowadays, like now that I've kind of got past all that, all the people in my uni are all like Minecraft movie and French prison escape movies, and so it's so hard to connect with all of it. Just got to watch Minecraft and prison escape movies. There you go. Just watch them both. I mean, I know I'm kind of jesting a little bit, but in all seriousness, I think that's probably the way to go. Just be you can obviously I love my more obscure films, indie films and foreign language films. But I also love my goofy. I loved watching Minecraft. It was crap, but it was a great experience at the time. Um, and I have my other kind of like guilty pleasure stuff like the Elvis movies. They are bad, and it's an obsession that nobody else understands. It's really not, but I love watching them. I just do. They're crap, but they're fun. I might watch them tonight, actually. I might, after I've done the stream, I might just pop them on. I've got. Do I show that I've got the box set? Yeah. Yeah. I, I, I did. I didn't buy this. This is actually from a family member who had never opened it. It was still in the cellophane. I was like, "Can I, can I borrow that?" And he was like, "Yeah, because I'm never going to use it." And I understand why. But yeah, 13 films plus a live concert that is on one of the discs as well. So it's technically not 14 films. But yeah. Ironically, the concert is probably the best thing on this box set, and it's 13 other films. Yeah, the concert is one of them. It's one of Elvis's Vegas shows from 1970. Um, I've seen that box set in HMV, and all I can think of that it's a terrible selection of films, with the exception of Dallas Rock and Viva Las Vegas. Yeah, let's go through what this box set has. So we've got Dallas Rock, which obviously I did the video on back in March. That's it. Because I watched Dallas Rock back in like January, and it's not great. It's not terrible. It's like the baseline Elvis film. It's a bit mediocre. It's like the bare minimum, right? Then you also got It Happened at the World's Fair. Haven't seen Kissing Cousins. I dread to watch. Viva Las Vegas. I really enjoy it. It's probably